Hi, I'm Healthy Mama B, and today we're going to talk about stress and the impact that it has on our weight. Stress is a part of life, and everyone is going to experience it occasionally. There are good stressors and there are bad stressors. Good stressors are things like planning for a wedding, getting ready to have a baby, or getting ready for an exciting move to a new house. And these are labeled as good stressors because they likely result in a positive outcome. And then we have things like bad stressors. And bad stressors are things like arguments that you may have with your significant other or maybe your ex, pressures at work, or maybe financial concerns. And we label these as bad because we're really unsure what the outcome is going to be. Regardless of the type of stress that you're experiencing, research shows that chronic high stress can prevent you from losing weight or even make you gain weight, which is kind of crazy, but it's true. So you're probably asking yourself, how is that even possible? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to explain that. And I'm going to do it in a simple way because it's kind of complex and it took me a while to get it. So when you've had a stressful day, your brain sends signals to your body to release certain hormones. And when that happens, you get a burst of energy. And that burst of energy releases adrenaline. And that adrenaline taps into your stored energy, and it allows you to sort of get into this fight or flight reaction, and that's your body's natural response to this adrenaline rush. It happens all the time. But at the same time that happens, you get a huge rush of cortisol. And cortisol is a steroid hormone that appears naturally in your body. And that cortisol tells your body to replenish the energy even though you haven't used it. So ultimately, all of these hormones wreak havoc on your body, and it makes you really hungry because your body thinks that you're in a calorie deficit when you're not. So the more stress you're under, the more cortisol your body is going to pump out. And what is your reaction? Well, everybody has different reactions. Some people will go for food. Some people will go for smoking. And many of us, those of us who have had cravings for food and weight issues, will crave trigger foods. We go for salty, crunchy, sweet, high-fat foods because subconsciously we want our brains to release the pleasure chemicals to reduce all of this tension in our body. And after a while, we're sort of like Pavlov's dogs. We condition ourselves to have this reaction every time we feel stressed. So we have a stressful situation and automatically we go straight for our trigger foods. Stressful situation, we go for the peanuts. Stressful situation, we go for the ice cream. We don't even have to think about it anymore. It's just this natural response. So feeling stress results in this natural craving for trigger foods, but it's a behavior that's actually learned, so there's nothing natural really about it. So we understand now how our body reacts and why we get hungry, but believe it or not, when large amounts of cortisol is actually released, you also have a slowdown in your testosterone production. And why is this important? Well, because your testosterone builds muscles within your body, and if you have a decrease in that hormone, you wind up burning fewer calories. So cortisol, between the combination of your body slowing down in the calorie burn and all of this other stuff going on, you could actually gain a little bit weight. Cortisol, believe it or not, also encourages your body to store more fat. So the more cortisol you actually produce, the more fat or the less fat you're actually going to burn. So it's kind of crazy. So knowing all of this and knowing that stress actually has a negative impact on our weight, regardless of the kind of stress that we're experiencing, let's talk about how stress will affect our body, our mind, and our behaviors and our feelings. Common effects of stress on our body. We feel headaches, tension and muscle pain. Sometimes we can feel chest pain, and that can result in a lot of different things. Fatigue. Sometimes you see a change in your sex drive. Sometimes your stomach will feel upset, and sometimes people will experience change in their sleep patterns. Stress will also affect your mood in various different ways. Folks will feel anxious or restless. Sometimes they'll feel a lack of motivation or focus. There's sometimes a feeling of feeling overwhelmed or irritable. Anger will usually result. People who are under a lot of stress will get very snippy. And there are times that there's a feeling of sadness or depression. Sometimes when you're feeling incredibly stressed out, you feel a sense of hopelessness because you just don't know how to handle the situation. So ultimately, all of these feelings, physically and emotionally will impact the stress. It will impact your behavior, and that will result in a few different things. We talked earlier about overeating. Some people will overeat. They'll go straight to their trigger foods. Some people will undereat. They'll just stop eating. It just depends on your nature. Some folks will have angry outbursts. Some people will tend to go towards drug or alcohol to help quench some of the stress that they're feeling. Some people will use tobacco products. In addition, people will start to feel, because they're feeling depressed or they're feeling sad, they'll start to move less. They'll go often. They'll decrease their frequency at the gym, and they'll start to exercise less often. So stress will have significant negative impacts to your overall persona, and it's important to keep that in mind, because stress is going to happen every day, no matter what you do, no matter how healthy you are, no matter how healthy you try to be, and how much you manage your diet every day. You're only going to be able to manage your stress levels so much. Life will throw you curveballs all of the time, and you just have to learn how to handle it effectively. You can't allow the stress in your life to sabotage all of the hard work and effort you've put into getting healthy. It's not worth it. Getting healthy emotionally, getting healthy physically, going back to the old behaviors, going back to the triggers, going back to the foods that you used to eat when you felt this way is just not the healthy way to go. So we're going to talk a little bit today about how to eliminate bad behaviors and create new ones. We're going to talk about how to control your stress a little bit better, and how to really create better ways of handling stress in your life. And this is a huge topic. Stress, there are millions of books out there that you can read, and I'm actually going to be publishing a blog on this within the next couple of days for some follow-up reading on it. But today we're just going to hit on some high-level topics that hopefully will help you. And if this is of further interest to you, then I can have further live sessions and go into more detail. And if you have any questions, then please go ahead and type them into the chat box, and I'll go ahead and address them at the end of our session today. So let's talk about a couple of things. I'm going to go through about 7 or 8 different tips that we can implement in our lives to help us manage stress more effectively. And the first one is, first, try to identify the stressors, the sources of stress in your life. Stress management, or proper stress management, really starts with trying to identify what's really stressing you out. It isn't as straightforward as it sounds. You can't just say, well, my job is stressing me out. Well, it's not your entire job that's stressing you out. It's likely elements of your job that's stressing you out. So try to identify what elements of your job. And also try to identify your reaction to those elements, because there are times that your reaction to particular events in your life will help impact the way that you react to stress. So look how you are reacting to feelings and behaviors, and how your feelings and behaviors will contribute to your everyday stress levels. You may know that you're constantly worried about stress levels or deadlines at work, but it could be your own, and I'm using this as an example, procrastination rather than actual job demands that's causing the stress. So as you're evaluating the sources of stress in your life, look at how you're contributing to that. Now, I'm not saying that you are the source of your own stress. That's not what I'm saying. But by identifying the sources of stress in your life, you can look at the ways that your behavior may be contributing to that. And until you accept responsibility for your own role and the role that you create in maintaining it, the stress level and the way that you control it will stay out of your control. So it's really important that you identify that. Now, as you're looking through and trying to evaluate the stress levels and what's really causing it. If you can't pinpoint it, then start a stress journal. And some people are like, I don't have time to write. I'm so busy in my life. I don't have time to think about anything. That's what's causing so much stress. I'm so busy. I don't even have 2 minutes. You know, obviously we're all busy, but you know, in order to be healthy, you have to take time out for yourself. So even if it's on your phone, go into the notes section of your phone and just write down every day a few things that have caused stress in your life. Having a stress journal can help you identify regular stressors in your life, and they can actually help you deal with them. And so a couple of things that you can help write in your stress journal, you know, what caused the stress on that particular day? How did you feel physically and emotionally when it happened? How did you act? What was your response? And what did you do to make yourself feel better? Did you eat? Did you smoke? Did you exercise? Did you talk to a friend? What did you do to handle it? And by identifying all of these things, it will help teach you, just like you're diarying, hopefully, if you're looking to change your weight and you're looking to change your lifestyle, you're diarying your food and what you're eating, and by becoming mindful of your food, you're changing your eating habits. So you may not eat, you know, within your calorie range every day, but being mindful of your food intake, you're actually becoming more aware. And by this awareness, you're actually changing your behaviors. It's the same thing with the stress management. The more you journal, the more you become aware of certain situations, your behaviors and your reactions to them, and then you can identify better ways of handling them. So it's about being mindful. Tip 2, replace unhealthy coping strategies with healthy ones. So let's talk about a couple of unhealthy coping strategies. And I'm sure that if we were all in a room right now and I listed all of these, some of us would raise our hands to some of them. Smoking, negative. Using pills or drugs to relax, negative. Drinking too much, negative. Withdrawing from friends and family and loved ones, even activities. Binging on junk food or comfort food. It could even be binging on healthy food. Any kind of binging on any kind of food or drug or any kind of binging is not healthy. You could eat, you know, a big tub of fruit salad and it'll still have several hundred calories. So everything in moderation. Procrastinating is a very unhealthy way of coping with stress. Think about when you had a project due at work or you had a big paper that was due in college. The more you put it off, the more stressed you became because the deadline quickly approached. You don't want to handle it that way. Zoning out for hours looking at your phone. Filling up every minute of your day so that you don't have to face your problem. Okay? Sleeping too much. Some people just, you know, completely disconnect from the world and they just get right into bed. And then the last one that I could think of was really taking your stress out on other people. There are times that you will unfortunately get angry and you just react and you wind up taking it out on other people. So if your methods of coping with stress aren't contributing to a better emotional state and a better physical state, then it's time to find healthier ones. So I really want you to think about what is a healthier behavior for you. What are some of the things that you can do for yourself to better manage your stress? For me, and I'll just use this example from today. I had a very stressful day, both professionally and personally. And what I chose to do was go to the gym, and I went to a kickboxing class, and I kicked the butt out of whatever was stressing me out, and it made me feel amazing. I have a big smile on my face. I feel so much better now. So ultimately, it was really about getting it all out. And I feel better. Did it make the stressors go away? No, but I feel better. So find out what is going to help you. Only you have that solution. There are suggestions, and we'll get into those in a couple of minutes. So, tip 3, practice the 4 A's. And I'm going to include this in my next blog because this is really important. While stress is an automatic, hear my New York? While stress is an automatic response from your nervous system, there are some stressors that are going to arise at predictable times in your life. you know, when you're commuting to work and you're stuck in traffic, if you're at a family gathering and there are particular family members that stress you out, you know, if you are handling predictable stressors, you really can't change those situations, but there are some situations in your life that you can change. So there are 4 A's that I want you to remember when handling stress: avoid, alter, adapt, and accept. Okay? It's not healthy to avoid a stressful situation that needs to be addressed, but there are some situations in your life that you can actually eliminate. So a couple things: learn how to say no, know your limits and stick to them. If somebody asks you for something that you know you can't deliver on, it's okay for you to say no, okay? It's also okay for you to avoid people who stress you out. If there are friends, if there are neighbors, if there are people in your life that just cause a lot of agita and stress in your life, just say to yourself, I just don't want to deal with them. Try to either, you know, avoid them by limiting the amount of time that you spend with them, or end the relationship. Take control of your environment. If the evening news makes you anxious, then don't watch it as often. If traffic makes you anxious, then see if you can commute at a different time, or put on music, or listen to an audiobook. And also try to, you know, pare down your to-do list. Sometimes we overschedule ourselves. You know, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're overscheduled. Go within something that's reasonable, a time frame that's reasonable, so that you have time for yourself. Okay? The second A is alter the situation. If you can't avoid a stressful situation, then try to alter it. And this may sometimes avoid changing the way that you communicate in your daily life. Express your feelings instead of bottling them up. It's really important to be able to share how you feel with the people who are maybe causing some stress. And also be willing to compromise. You know, when you ask somebody to change their behavior, for example, maybe somebody significant in your life puts the TV on and they put it on a little bit too loud, and you ask them to turn it down. Maybe there's something about you that they find a little bit stressful. Be willing to compromise with them. Okay, it's a give and take. You have to find the middle ground between the two of you. And create a balanced schedule. That also comes into part with the paring down your to-do list, right? You have to find the balance in your life. It can't just be constant going. You have to have some downtime for yourself. The third A is adapt. So again, if you can't change the stressor, you have to change you. You can adapt the stress to the stressful situation and regain a sense of ownership by changing your expectations and your attitude. Try to reframe the problem. Try to view the stressful situation from a more positive perspective. Rather than fuming about the individual who may be causing the stress in your life, look at it as an opportunity to stop and pause and regroup and kind of evaluate the situation. Listen to some music, read a book, just, you know, stop and just stop thinking about it for a few minutes. Look at the big picture of your life and think about what that one stressful situation is going to mean in the whole scheme of your life, and what is the validity of that stressor in where you are in your life now and where you're going to be in your life tomorrow, and 10 years from now, and 20 years from now. Okay, and then lastly, in this particular section of adaptation, practice gratitude. You know, when stress is weighing you down and you feel like it's this huge boulder on your shoulders, take a moment to reflect on your life and to appreciate the things in your life that are wonderful and positive, and your own qualities that are fantastic, and the gifts that you have in your life of love and success and the roof over your head and the healthy foods on your plate. And, you know, just appreciate what you have and be grateful, because not everybody has that. And whatever stress you have in your life, it's only fleeting. It won't be here forever. And don't allow that stressful moment to sit with you, because again, it's not going to be here forever. And nobody should have that level of power over you. Nobody or nothing should have that level of power over you. Lastly, in this section, Accept the things that you can't change. That's part of the serenity prayer. Sometimes you just can't avoid situations. You can't avoid certain people. Don't try to control the uncontrollable. Some things in life are beyond your control. A particular diagnosis, for example, other people's behaviors. So try to always look for the upside in every situation. Always try to find the positive. And also learn to forgive. Okay. There may be people in your life that you may be upset with, people that you've hold grudges against. If you forgive them, it creates a lot less stress for you, and it lifts the burden off of your chest. Whether they forgive you is another story, but you can forgive from your own heart. Share your feelings. Expressing what you're going through can be very cathartic. So talk to somebody that you care about. Talk to the person that's causing the stress if you can, if you feel comfortable. And if you can't, then talk to somebody else in your life that you feel comfortable with and share how you feel. It's okay to cry. It's okay to scream a little bit, as long as you're not screaming at the person that you're talking to. And just share your feelings. Just getting it out will help. And if you don't feel comfortable sharing your feelings with another person because it's very personal and you just don't feel like you're in that place, then go ahead and write them down. Journal. Okay. Tip 4, get moving. This is the one topic that people roll their eyes at, but exercise is incredibly important. Physically, emotionally, it's so important because really the last thing that you really feel like doing when you're stressed is exercising, but when you are done exercising, you feel like $1,000,000. It doesn't necessarily have to mean going to the gym. You could put music on, you can dance around your house, you can take your dog out for a walk, you can go to the grocery store and walk around, just make sure not to put anything fattening in your cart. You can go, to this, take a long walk around your neighborhood, go to the mall, walk around. Do whatever you can, even take your kids out, and to the park and just run around for a while. Anything that you can do to move around and get yourself away from the stressful situation will help. Okay. Number 5, connect with others. And this will really tie into what I said earlier about how important it is to talk to other people. But, to add to that, nothing is more calming and more important than spending time with other human beings. People have a tendency when they're feeling sad, when they're feeling depressed, and when they're feeling stressed to want to isolate and push people away. They don't want to talk about it. They want to isolate. They want to keep everything inside. But, this ties into the whole fight or flight response that I had mentioned earlier. Make it a point to talk to the people in your life, share with them how you're feeling, and if you don't feel comfortable sharing, again, just at least connect with them, go out, have some fun, laugh a little bit, enjoy your time together, and you'll find that just having the connections with other people will help decrease your overall stress level. Okay, and a couple of sessions ago, I had there was a question in one of the sessions about, what if you don't have a lot of friends? Well, if you don't, then, I'm going to be putting some information up on one of my blogs about how to build relationships. So that will be forthcoming. But, there are many ways to meet people. So if you're in that situation, then, information is forthcoming, or you can send me a message and we can talk about it. Okay. And then last, I think this is last. I'm pretty sure it's either last or close to last. The next tip is tip 6. Make time for fun and relaxation. It's really important for you to enjoy your life. We work really hard. You take care of your families, you take care of your kids, you take care of other people in your life. You have to remember to take care of you. So regardless of what your schedule is in your life, set aside leisure time. Do something that you love every single day. For me, believe it or not, it's exercise. I love to exercise now, and I do carve out a little bit of time for exercise. I also carve out time for the people that I love in my life every day. It's important for me to connect on that level. So find that time for you. And try to laugh every day, connect and laugh, see life from a different perspective. Life is really short, and you don't want to give up too much time worrying about the things in life that you don't have control over. Okay. And you know, one of the things that I enjoy very, very much, and I love this, it's my Saturday morning flow class. It's a class that is based on Tai Chi and Pilates, and there's some yoga in there. And at the end of the class, it's a 60-minute class. And at the very end, we do 10 minutes of relaxation. And really, I live all week long for that 10 minutes of relaxation, because it's the only 10 minutes during the week where it's completely silent and completely dark, with the exception of when I fall asleep. And I meditate, and I just completely just shut my mind off, and it's wonderful. So try to get into the habit, if you can, of relaxing and finding some time for yourself. And I think it'll really help you. Okay. Manage your time, maintain balance with a healthy lifestyle, and I think you'll see that your stress levels, while they may not, you know, decrease all the time, you'll find that you'll be able to manage your stress more effectively. And by managing it more effectively, your behavior in reacting to these stressors will diminish significantly. You will find that even though your cortisol is you know, exploding, and your adrenaline is flying, and your testosterone is going, and all those you know, hormones that we were talking about earlier in our session today, even though all of those hormones are going to be rushing through your body, you can control your reaction to them, and you don't have to go to the bad habits anymore. There are healthier ways of coping, and hopefully you will be able to handle it a little bit differently moving forward. I didn't want today's session to be too long. The last few have been quite lengthy, so I wanted to keep it at a reasonable time. A few things I did want to remind you. I do have a Healthy Mama Bee Getting Started guide that is now available on my website, so I would love for you to check it out. In order to receive it, just go ahead to healthy-mamabee.com and please put in your email address on the pop-up screen, and you will automatically receive the Getting Started guide. And what that is a guide with a couple of tips that will help you get into the right frame of mind to get started on your weight loss plan, or any type of lifestyle change that you're ready to make. These are the tools that I use to get myself ready to lose weight. And as you know, if you've been following me, I've lost about 110 pounds. The last couple of months I've been at a plateau. I haven't been as motivated, but I'm back on track now. And I am just, you know, hoping that you'll subscribe and that you'll check it out. By subscribing, you won't receive a lot of emails from me. I don't plan on sending out a lot because I get a lot of emails from so many people. I don't want to bog you down, but I do want you to at least receive an occasional email with some information that you might find helpful. And if you follow my Facebook page, you'll be able to keep up with all of the blogs. Again, my webpage is www.healthy-mamabee.com. And I thank you all for joining me today. And if you have any questions about what we talked about today, please feel free to message me. I would love to hear from you. And if you have any ideas for any topics in the future, I would love to hear what you want to hear about, because it's my pleasure to bring you topics that you would find the most interesting. Thank you all for joining tonight, and have a wonderful day. Be happy, be healthy. This is Healthy Mama Bee. Good night.